Now, global EV sales for the month of September reached 1.7 million, which is a new monthly record, as the record before this one that came in September was around 1,550,000, which came last year in December. I mean, out of these 1.7 million of total sales generated by these new energy vehicle sales, 1.12 million were generated in China, and 150,000 were generated in the US and Canada, and 300,000 were generated in Europe. This shows you that China continues dominating this fast-growing new energy vehicle market, as this 1.12 million that we saw in China for the month of September, it is about 66% of the total sales, or constitute to about 66% of the total sales generated for September, which shows you why China is an important market globally for EV cars, which is why it is important that even for countries like Europe, countries like the US, they need to make sure that they have a solid ground, because once China retaliates on this tariff which they are imposing onto Chinese EV makers wanting to sell in Europe, wanting to sell in the US, it will not be good. I know well some of these countries like Tesla, they've got factories in China. Some of these companies, BMW, Mercedes, they've got factories in China, but I mean, if they retaliate, it can end up even hurting the very same factories that are in China, because how they will be responding or fighting back on these tariffs that EU is imposing or wants to impose onto Chinese car makers or Chinese EV car makers like NIO. So yeah, man, this is good. This is good news to know that September we saw record-breaking monthly deliveries from the new energy vehicle cars. I mean, it just shows you that the more this market grows, is the more companies like NIO will continue doing well. I mean, you will know that for the month of September, NIO had total sales of over 21,000. This was from both NIO and Onvo. NIO had 20,000 or over 20,300. Onvo had over 830 sales generated for the month, which in total, of course, it went over 21,000 deliveries for the month of September. There are companies like Xpeng that saw record-breaking monthly deliveries, companies like Li Auto that saw record-breaking deliveries, which was good for them. But as for NIO, they saw record-breaking quarterly deliveries of over 61,000, which was so good, so amazing to see that. So the more this market grows, is the more companies like NIO will continue doing so well, or will continue putting a good show for us to, of course, see. It is for this reason that I remain long and strong onto companies like NIO, because the market of new energy vehicle cars there in China, it is doing exceptionally well, and chances are they are going to continue dominating this market for the longest period. Because based on this article we're reading, in the US, the EV or the new energy vehicle market, it's slow. It's not growing as much as China. It's seeing the growth. US is still intending or planning to compete with China. I think they should just accept defeat that China is the leader when it comes to new energy vehicle sales, because looking at the kind of sales that China is selling compared to that of USA and Europe, you and me can definitely agree that, yeah, China is dwarfing all the countries globally, and chances are very high that companies like NIO will continue flourishing. So these countries outside of China needs more of China than China needing them, because, I mean, let's face it, China is selling most cars in their country. Even when it comes to infrastructure, I mean, China is very far ahead, which explains why people are continuing wanting to buy these new energy vehicle cars. I mean, US, we have read articles of saying that the infrastructure is not enough, and same goes, I think, to Europe. The infrastructure, there are times that here and there you will read about infrastructure not being enough at a certain place, which in China, companies like NIO, it is for this reason that they are so aggressive when it comes to the deployment of this infrastructure, being in charging infrastructure, battery swapping stations. They are aggressive, which is one thing that will lead into more sales coming, because the more these things or these infrastructures are there, is the more people will continue comfortably coming into new energy vehicle cars like NIO. The more battery swapping swapping stations become so many, is the more people will come and buy Neo, Envoy and Firefly, together with all the other cars that support battery swapping stations, because of the convenience that they get when they are driving their EV cars, because they don't spend a lot of time when they are going to swap the battery in their car, and they do not have to worry about the warranties on a battery. I mean, with Neo, when you subscribe to bus, we have discussed this to say that it gives you sleep well at night knowing that whatever happens into the battery, it's in Neo's hands. Neo will just make you to swap out that battery and get another battery, depending. In fact, almost on a day to day, 2 days, 3 days, you get a new battery as you run out of power in your car, right? Which these battery issues on Neo, those that have subscribed to bus, it does not apply, which is incredible, which is amazing, and I am happy about this. So 1.7 million, it's what was generated, or is the total sales which were generated globally on the fast growing EV industry, and 1.12 of those came in China, whilst 150,000 came in US, 300 came in Europe, which is just so amazing, so incredible to see global sales hitting an all-time high of 1.7 million. So tell me what you think about this. I am very happy. I am excited. It is important that you do your own DD before you buy any of the new energy vehicle companies in the market, because sometimes you might buy companies that in the future they won't be there, they won't succeed. But companies like Neo, I mean, that I discuss on a daily basis here, you and me can agree that that company is not going anywhere. That company is heading to profitability within the next year, which is something that we look forward to because of the great performance they've been putting out there. Yeah, we can expect good things, great things to come from that company, which is why I remain long and strong on to the EV maker Neo. Blue sky is coming. Do your own due diligence. That's all from me, and God bless you all.